Are you ready? Are you ready to escape the echo chamber? Are you ready to dismantle the deception? Are you ready to push past the propaganda? Then let's go. As you can see, I'm not in my normal attire. It's casual Friday, and I've got my "You Can Fight City Hall" shirt on. As you may have already noticed, I keep my "You Can Fight City Hall" mug behind me, and hey, yes, you can fight City Hall. Don't ever let them tell you otherwise. Because not only can you fight City Hall, you can beat City Hall. Let's talk about Kanye and Kim. A lot of people like it. There's a lot of people talking about Kanye and Kim. Some people are concerned. Some people are, some people are claiming to be concerned that things could get ugly, things can go south, people can be hurt. And that's what I want to talk about. I mean, where you have camps of people. Of course, you have your team Kim's, you've got your team Kanye's, you've got some people that are just like, oh, this is just too messy. And yeah, I get it. But let's just take a look at what it is. Kanye and Kim, this is not a messy divorce. This is not a messy divorce because the divorce is over. The divorce is over. They're no longer married. This is not uh, them squabbling over resources and the kid. This is not them squabbling over who's going to get the kids, who's going to get what. And that's the upside. Let's give them some credit. In fact, let's give them some applause because that could have been, yeah, give them some applause because it could have been that ugly. It could have been them. Remember, these are two billionaires. You could have, we could have had to watch two billionaires going at it over the dollars. And yeah, as I think about it, if you think about Bezos, that one, that was pretty smooth. Yeah, this could have been super ugly had they apparently they had a prenup in place and everybody just said, "Hey, you got your money, I got mine." They were smart enough to keep it that way. And lesson message, um, like that could have been a whole nother level of drama. It's not, so we give them credit for that. But right now, the drama after the breakup reminds me of Twilight. It's like Team Edward and Team Jacob, and you've got people on different camps taking different sides, and not just taking different sides, but they're attacking the people on the other side. Like if you support Kanye, you're crazy. You don't respect women. It's like okay, maybe there's just another perspective. If you support Kim, oh, you ignore the system, you ignore all the injustice that fathers are facing. Maybe this is a different situation than what many fathers have faced. Maybe. Let's talk about it. You have people on Team Kim claiming that Kanye is abusive. In fact, to everybody watching, let me know what are you on either team? Anybody who's Team Kim, feel free to put Team Kim. Anybody who's Team Kanye, feel free to put Team Kanye. Anybody who's like, I just want them to shut up and leave us alone, feel free to put that in the chat now too. Uh, because there are people that are saying that. There's the meme of people saying, we're stuck in a group chat. We're involuntarily stuck in a group chat between Kanye and Kim. But they're saying some people, Team Kim, they're saying Kanye's abusive. He's a stalker. They're saying he's dangerous. He's crazy. They're saying Kim isn't safe and Pete Davidson isn't safe, her new boyfriend. Now we're gonna get to that later. Team Kanye's people, they're saying, well, Kim is manipulative. She has multiple failed marriages. It's on her. She's attention seeking. As of last week, they say, oh, she's out of touch. They're saying Pete is antagonizing Kanye. He's bullying him and picking at him. They're saying Kim is playing games with the kids. The system is anti-father. Now let's take a look at what happened. See, when Kanye moved next door to Kim, moved next door, the media, because the media is taking sides too. And the way that the media is taking sides is not based, I assure you, the way that the media is taking sides is not based on the reality of these two individuals. There are other factors that are causing why the media has taken sides. So when a bunch of the media, when Kanye moved next door, they were like, "Oh, he's stalking her." Like he can't get over her. He can't leave this woman alone. He needs to move on with his life. There's something wrong with this guy. But if you look at the interview, and in fact, I did a video on this. If you look at the interview between Kanye West and Jason Lee, he talks about how, number one, I didn't move next door to Kim. He says, I moved next door to my kids. And that was a perspective. When I heard him say that, that was a perspective that nobody had talked about. That was a perspective that the media wasn't promoting, because they was like, "Oh, this is just about him trying to be around his ex." I was like, you know what? That's an interesting point. He has the money. If he wants to be close to his kids, like what would a father that has gotten divorced and has the resources, that wants to be close to his children, what should he do? What would be a good thing to do? And moving next door to your kids, if you've got the money to do it, I'm like, you know what? That's that's not crazy. That's not a bad thing. That seemed reasonable. Something else that he said in the interview with Jason Lee. He's like, listen, I have beef. I'll say things, people I don't like, think situations I don't like, but I want to make sure it's known. I'm not going to do anything illegal. I'm not doing anything violent. So when I say I'm going to get at people, I'm talking about legally, and through other means. Now he didn't say he's going to play nice, and clearly we can see that there's a lot of not nice play going on. But he never said that he was going to play nice. So what we're seeing is definitely him at least adhering to that part. Interesting thing is Kim isn't saying a whole lot, and Kim hasn't said a lot directly about the situation. She said a couple of things, and like she's waited. And we got to realize Kim is media savvy. Kim is so media savvy because by her not saying anything, by her just letting him go off, him ranting about Pete Davidson, him ranting about her letting North on TikTok, him ranting, like by him doing this, she knows she can just keep quiet, and he looks crazy. He looks stupid, and she looks like she's taking the high road. Now, she may actually just be taking the high road, but there's a couple of ways to look at it. She could actually just be taking the high road. Yeah, I'm not gonna, badmouth him. I'm just gonna let him be, and I'll just let him tire himself out. But when you take a look at the way the media covers it, the question is, why is there such a divide over support? Like I said, the divide in support over, who's a good guy and who's a bad guy, especially from the media. Now, there's people in the general public that there's a little bit more nuance, but in the media, it is definitely 1,000% political. It is 1,000% political with the way the media covers it. So you've got your left-leaning media that is definitely going to come after Kanye. That's going to call him crazy, going to call him ridiculous, because they've been calling him crazy and ridiculous ever since he publicly supported Trump. So now this fits their narrative because he's still talking about right-wing topics. He's still criticizing the Democrats. So they're like, okay, perfect. This is fitting into our narrative even better. We can take every crazy thing, every stupid thing he says, all of his antics, and then just say, see, we told you he's crazy. Meanwhile, you've got people on the right who may not have ever given a damn about Kanye West, but because he supported Trump, they're like, oh no, Kanye is right. Kanye is being persecuted. This is their lies, and and now they're coming up with a narrative to support Kanye because they agree with him politically, because they agree with things he said publicly on a political from a political standpoint. But in fact, and like I said, that's what the media's doing, and there's people in the general public that are doing this. So now the funny thing is though, Kanye and Kim both dealt with Trump. When Trump was in office, they both dealt with Trump, but they were dealing with him on a political on a level of political of getting things of advocacy. And quite frankly, by the way, let me just stop before. That's something I appreciate about both of them. I appreciate that both Kim Kardashian and Kanye West used their influence to lobby Trump and help with criminal justice issues while Trump was in office. Because there's a lot of people who were afraid to deal with Trump because it's Trump, and they didn't want to get criticized by the Democrats. Like if you actually care about an issue, that's like if you're an advocate for an issue, doesn't matter who's in. You're supposed to be like, don't let a political party get in the way of you advocating for that issue. If there's a Republican president and you can get some kind of common ground and gain some kind of ground with them, do it. If there's a Democrat, like, do it so that you can get this thing done. And I appreciate that both of them did that. Um, listen, I forgot about that. Yeah, the right hated Kanye when he said the whole George Bush thing. Y'all remember what that? Do y'all remember that? George Bush doesn't care about black people. The look on Mike Myers' face was priceless. But where you're at is so much of this is politicized. So much of this is based on political allegiances and this political tribalism. And so people are just automatically just picking a team based on, okay, Kanye's on the right, boom, we're with him. People on the left, oh, Kanye's on the left, sorry, Kim is on the is on the left, we're with Kim. But now, question is Kim on the left? Because remember, Kim and Kanye both went to Trump, and yeah, classic. Yes, that was absolutely classic. The the telethon where Kanye just, and that's Kanye. Kanye will just do things. Kanye will just say, you know what, this isn't the generally accepted thing, but I don't care because I'm Kanye, and I kind of understand where he's coming from. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Because if you take a look at the advocacy, the political advocacy, and the criminal justice advocacy that Kim and Kanye were doing while Trump was in office, you have Kim, who was she was lobbying on behalf of certain people, like that woman that had been sent for a drug case, got her out. Kanye was doing something similar as well. He was working on the same thing, but he went further. So Kanye goes further. Kanye goes to the White House. Kanye is meeting with Trump and just praising Trump. A lot of people on the left didn't like that. Especially like the Democratic Party, they hated that. The establishment in the Democratic Party hated that because that makes their job harder. Because if you have a prominent black musician like Kanye West publicly disavowing the Democratic Party, they might actually have to work to get the black vote. So from that point on, they have to discredit him so that black people, even if they're buying his music, even if they're liking his music, will not listen to him when it comes to political issues. But there's something I really appreciated when Kanye did that. Because at that time, when Kanye went to the White House, when Kanye was talking to Trump, people like Candace Owens, Like, and Candace Owens was basically parroting what Trump had already said, but there were a bunch of people in Trump's ear telling Trump that he needed to institute martial law in Chicago. Think about that. When Kanye goes to the White House, there's people in the there are people in Trump's ear telling him he needs to institute martial law in Chicago. What does Kanye do? Kanye goes to the White House. Kanye's sitting there, the cameras are there, everybody's, taking pictures. They're like, okay, yeah, this is going to be big, this is going to be huge. This is, I mean, we're going to cover the hell out of this. This is going to be something really big. And it is. But so many people missed what actually happened. So Kanye's there, and the cameras are there. Kanye looks at the cameras. I love this man. This man is great. This man is amazing. This man has done some, like, I look up to this man. This is what Kanye is saying. And everybody's like, wow, this is gonna be gold. Like, in both sides. Like, it doesn't matter what media outlet they were for, this was gonna be huge because Kanye is just like basically pledging allegiance to Donald Trump. And he's like, oh, I love this man. This man is an inspiration to me. It's like Superman. Like, I want to be like this man. And Trump, being the ego driven individual that he is, was just loving it. Like, you could actually see Donald Trump's head getting bigger as Kanye was just praising him. He was like, he was loving it. And Kanye's like, yes, it's and this man is so great, and he's done what no other president can do. He's done all these things, and and uh and that's why I'm so glad that he's in the White House, and it means so much to me, and that it means so much to me that I'm able to sit here with this man. Oh yeah, and martial law in Chicago, stop and frisk, stupid ideas. And Trump was like, yeah, 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 they're stupid ideas. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, free Larry Hoover. Well, I don't know who Larry Hoover is, but we need to look at his case. Yeah, we need to look at his case. Kanye just did something that was Kanye saved Chicago, and everybody missed it. Kanye saved Chicago, and everybody missed it. Kanye went there, gassed Trump up, and then slipped in some stuff to, hey, don't do this policy, don't do this policy, don't do this, don't destroy Chicago, don't get stop and frisk is stupid, it doesn't work. Martial law, no, that's just a horrible idea. And Larry Hoover and Trump, like he did such a phenomenal job at gassing Trump up that that Trump was actually looking into, like, okay, yeah, we gotta research who this dude is that he's talking about. We got to we got to look at his case and see if he needs to be out of prison. But that was something that people didn't like. People on the left didn't like the establishment on the left. The establishment on the left didn't like it because they were like, oh man, we don't want people, we especially don't want the black community negotiating with the Republican Party. We don't want that to happen. But guess what? I'm glad Kanye did, because had all of the influence from Trump been the idiots telling him to do stupid stuff, like, things could have been way worse for, like, especially Chicago. Kanye saved Chicago. But now that was the reason, because Kanye went all in supporting Trump. That's why people on the left, they're still not, they still weren't great with Kim. They still didn't, because they were like, wait a minute, but she was kind of lightweight, rocking with Trump too. So we want to reserve judgment. But Kim did something this year to, like, and like I said, Kim is media savvy. Kim is media savvy, and she did something at the beginning of this year to make sure where the media would fall in the covering her and Kanye. Because at the beginning of this year, Kim Kardashian had coffee with Hillary Clinton publicly. Cameras are there and everything. And it's like, wait a minute. Who told the cameras? Who told the press that Kim and Kim, Hillary, and Chelsea were going to be having coffee together? Like I said, Kim Kardashian is a very media savvy person. And by publicly aligning herself with Hillary, she now makes it so that there's a clear distinction between her and Kanye, so that the majority of the outside of Fox News, the majority of entertainment media, Hollywood leans left, CNN, MSNBC. So now she's got a lot of media that's automatically going to be taking her side because she shifted it up. She saw that there was potential for her to be tied to Trump still, and she said, "Listen, I gotta make a clear delineation between me and the right, so that I can get full support from the left." And it worked, because like right now, it's not just that. I mean, you can take a look at her boyfriend. Her new boyfriend has a tattoo of Hillary Clinton. So Kim is doing things that are very smart in terms of positioning herself in a way where the media, the especially the like the Hollywood media, entertainment media, and a bunch of that media will support her. Of course, Fox News and them, right leaning outlets, they're going to support Kanye because hey, he likes Trump, so we like him. Um, Trevor Noah's recent comments on abusive relationships, citing Kanye and Kim as an example, was out of pocket though. It plays into the narrative that he's stalking and abusing her. And you see, this is what's happening. Because the media isn't just taking Kim's side and saying, oh, Kim is great, Kanye's stupid. It's going to another level where they're actually accusing Kanye of very dangerous behavior. So, like he's talking about, like they're saying that he's abusing her. They're saying this now, mind you, we haven't heard of any allegations of abuse during their relationship. Um, well, definitely not physical abuse. There's some who claimed that things he said were emotionally abusive. But once again, this is where we're going with where people on Team Kim are just are painting a very bad picture of Kanye. Now, Kanye's doing things, but now the way it's being interpreted by people on the left and people who are on Team Kim are making Kanye look like he's a madman and he's capable of actually physically harming people. And not just capable, but that it's likely that he's actually going to try to physically harm people. But I mean, if you take a look at it, Pete, Pete had criticized Kanye. Pete had criticized Kanye and actually made fun of Kanye for his Trump support. So that's another component. So, like, if you've got Kim and Pete over here, they're clearly Hillary supporters. And Pete had, went on SNL, made fun of Kanye, put on the Make Kanye 2006 again, and talk about how, hey, he's a musical genius. But just because you're a genius in music doesn't mean we want to hear your opinion on non-musical topics. Now, the funny thing about that statement is people will say that Pete Davidson is a comedian and that's his expertise. But the same people that will say that they don't want to hear Kanye's opinion about non-musical topics will have no problem hearing non-comedy opinions from a Pete Davidson. No problem. Why? Because they align with their own. And it's not just the left that does it, like the right. The people on the right who will tell LeBron James to shut up and dribble because he's just an athlete will love the political insights of Kanye West, despite the fact that he admits that he doesn't actually read, he's not really knowledgeable on politics, and he's demonstrated that, like even in his independent run for president, he clearly demonstrated a lack of knowledge of the ballot access laws, because like he didn't even realize that he would need to be on the ballot and what it would take to be on the ballot in all of these different states. So like by the time he had announced and started his run, he had already missed a bunch of deadlines. But Kanye West does have mental health issues. The interesting thing is, so does Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson and Kanye West both have mental health issues. And as I'm looking at this, I'm like, that's interesting. That's interesting. That Kim Kardashian's ex-husband has mental health issues, and her current boyfriend have mental health issues. Hmm. It's something that I find interesting. I don't know if anybody else has looked at that and found that interesting, but I find that like I wonder, is it because is she used to dealing with Kanye's mental health issues and now she's like, "Oh, I'm in a position where it makes me not afraid to deal with these type of issues or I'm I'm comfortable dealing with somebody with these mental health issues." Is that what it is? Perhaps. But have you heard about Pete's tattoos? So Pete, it just came out that Pete, in fact, she was on Ellen. Kim Kardashian is on with Ellen, and she's talking about how her relationship with Pete, and she's starting to be more open about things. However, like I said, Kim is media savvy. Kim is talking about Pete and her, and the kids. She's not talking about Kanye. So once again, she looks like the bigger person. And hey, at some point, maybe Kanye could take a lesson from this and stop talking about what Kim and Pete are doing. Maybe, but I don't think it's likely. I'll tell you why later. But she's talking to Ellen, and she's talking about how cute her relationship between her and Pete is, and she says that Pete has her name on him, and she said Pete didn't want to just get do the normal thing. He didn't just want to get a regular tattoo. Pete says, I want to put your name on me, and I want to do it in a way where I can't get rid of it, where I can't cover it up, because he's already, like, I guess, removing a couple of other tattoos. But she said that he said he wants to he wants to put her name on him in a way where it can't be gotten rid of. And so what he's done is branded her with him. He's branded her name onto his body. He's branded. That means like with a brand, the hot brand seared Kim's name onto his body. The amazing thing about this is I'm watching as she's telling Ellen DeGeneres this. And Kanye's the crazy one. Listen, like when you get a chance later on, go to Twitter or something, and when you look at Ellen DeGeneres' face, when you see the look on Ellen DeGeneres' face when Kim tells her that, the look on her face is not like, oh, the look on her face is like one of sheer horror. She actually stops. She looks at Kim. Okay. So like Kim's here, right? She looks at Kim, then looks at the camera, looks at Kim again, and she's like, like tapping her fingers. She goes, like she realizes that's not that doesn't sound like rational behavior. That doesn't sound that doesn't sound like somebody that doesn't sound like stable behavior. Remember, according to the public reports, according to the majority of reports, they started dating in October. They they've been like this isn't his wife. This is his girlfriend. Kanye Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson are not married. This is his girlfriend, and according to most of the reports, they started dating in October. And he branded her name into his flesh. And Kim is telling this to Ellen DeGeneres like it's a beautiful thing. Like, and by the way, then she then goes on to say that, yeah, that's so that my name, he got branded, but the other things he got tattooed. And Ellen's like, wait, there's more than one. She goes, yes, yeah, he has like my girl is a lawyer on it, on tattooed on him, and some others. And think about what that means. This guy, according to the public reports, they've been dating since October, and he branded her name into his flesh. And like like Soul said, and Kanye's the crazy one. The fact that he did this, okay, so we already know that Pete Davidson has mental health issues. We know Kanye has mental health issues. The fact that Kim in like is gushing over this behavior. So remember how I said it's interesting that both her ex-husband and her current boyfriend have mental health issues? I'm looking at this as to say, it is this an is this a sign of her being, evolved and being willing to like, oh yes, I'm not going to allow, because hey, mental health issues are real, and just because somebody have mental health issues doesn't necessarily mean they need to be shunned, and they're not, they can't have fruitful relationships. But the question is, and her behavior has me looking like is that kind of behavior something that she appreciates? Because now, if that sort of what many people would consider unstable behavior is something that she appreciates, now you start to look at Kanye's behavior in a completely different light. Think about it. If Kim likes those kind of things and considers that flattering and cute, then Kanye going to all these extra lengths might not just be Kanye being crazy. It might be Kanye knowing what his like how his wife's ego works. Um, I'm going to be honest. This one topic I care nothing for. Every day people get divorced. I'm just tired that this is constant news. So Kenny, you're clearly in the camp of why do we all have to be involved in this? I get it. I get it. Um, like because there's a lot of people that are on the on Twitter, and they're like, like I said earlier, they feel like they're stuck in this. They've been involuntarily included in this group chat, and they would like Kim and Kanye to cut the rest of us out of it. No, I get it. I absolutely get it. Hey, Kenny, welcome to the stream. Uh, but like I'm looking at this, and there's a lot of things that people aren't taking into consideration. So like and like I said, because a lot of people are coming from this, especially when you're talking about the media. When you talk about the media is coming at this from a political aspect, and the people on the right are just bigging up Kanye because hey, he's a Trump supporter. People on the left are attacking Kanye, are praising Kim because hey, she's not Kanye, she's not bigging up Trump, and as of this year, she's now showing herself going out in public, being seen with Hillary and Chelsea. So she's sliding over to the left, and now they're like, yes, that's what we want to see. I have a question: is any of this even real? I do have that question. Because when you're dealing with people like Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, remember, Kim is a master of using media. Kim is a master of keeping the cameras on her. She's got a reality TV show, and she's a master of keeping the cameras and keeping attention on herself. Kanye is also has been for a long time using controversy to promote himself and his albums. So like there is a legitimate question that could be asked, like is this even real? Or is this being done for them to promote themselves, their brands, and whatever their respective projects are, and like the rest of us are just like caught up in the whirlwind. Oh yeah, I'm trying to unsubscribe from this group chat, but it's more and more messages blowing up my phone. LOL. Like every time you get out of the group chat, you get pulled back in. It's like, how did I get back in this chat? But I've been looking at the okay, so nothing on social media is real these days. Like I don't know. Like I'm not making. I have to ask the question just based on who these two people are. Just based on who these two people are, I have to wonder. It's all WWE to me. That's well, guess what? Politics is definitely WWE. They're like without a doubt, the politics is WWE, and that's why you can have people be the heel one day and then they turn and then all of a sudden they hey everybody's cheering for them. It's just like um, yeah, there's a lot of theater out there. But when I'm looking at these tweets, like these tweets and people's coverage of it, I think there's a lot in here that people could be looking at and be like, you know what? Like this should tell you something. Like just if you're a man who's worried about the court systems and everything, and you see Kanye West, who is a famous billionaire, going through it, regular men are gonna be like, wow, like what chance do I have? And so now, while that a regular guy may not be able to change the system, what that what that does, and what I would think that would do is say, hey, maybe I have to be really, really, really careful about who I wife up, about who I have kids with. Because if I have kids with some woman and she may be fine as, oh, poo, but what kind of mother to my children is she going to be? How compatible are we together? So like, do we have the same goals for the kids? Because if this relationship goes south, the kids, we still have to co-parent. We still have to take care of these kids if this relationship goes south. And Kanye, and if this is real, if the beef between him and Kim right now is real, Kanye is finding this out in real time. He's finding it out. He may not be learning the lesson, but he's finding out this lesson. Like this lesson is being made manifest to him right now in real time, even with his billions of dollars. Like like choosing who you have kids with, choosing who you get become linked with is important. Like just pretty face is not enough to go on. You can put yourself in a world of hurt if you're not paying attention to who you're marrying. But it isn't the first time the famous man gets a divorce and is screwed over by the system. And that's the point. Like if famous men, if powerful men, if men with just boatloads of money are getting screwed over by the system, that means that it's up to men to be smarter about, because like, so from a woman's standpoint, now she has to be careful about what kind of man she gets involved with. Why? Because if she goes ahead and gets pregnant by a dude who's gonna bounce as soon as he gets tired, like she says, oh, I'm pregnant, and he's out the door, he's just gone. Like, okay, she's still stuck with the baby, she still has the baby, so now she's got to be on her own. Dudes, it's not like dudes can say, okay, well, I don't have to worry about that. No, you do have to worry about that. Because if you're dealing with a woman who, she gets pregnant, she has the baby, and now she wants to just make your life a living hell, you still have a kid. You can't stop dealing with her because y'all still have that child together. And if you know how the system works, you know that she's likely to get custody, at least primary custody, maybe joint custody, but at some level, you're still going to have to deal with her in raising your kids. So like, this is something men need to be taking into account before they eat. Like, never mind before they put the ring on her finger. Before you get in the bed, you have to be thinking about, okay, yeah, she looks good, but do I want to have kids with this woman? But a lot of us, a lot of us don't even like, when the blood just starts rushing down, it's just all thought, all sense, all common sense, all kinds of like any thoughts of the future are out the window, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm about to get some. Like that's the only focus. Mhm. Then what chance do we have exactly? But Trevor went the other way, taking up for women in alleged abusive relationships. And now remember what I said about Trevor, because remember Trevor is on the left. So the question is, was Trevor Noah? Let's say, Kim Kardashian was doing some foul stuff. Would Trevor Noah come forward and side with Kanye against her? That's the question. Think about it. Like with him being on the left, would he be accepted? Would the left would the left attack him if he was to side with Kanye against Kim? But that's with every divorce, especially when it comes to child support, alimony, and custody. Yes, but that's why it's important. That's why it's important to make the like to be mindful of this going into the situation. Because a lot of times dudes aren't even thinking about that when you're going into the situation. And then it comes to knowing yourself. Because like if Kanye knows that he can be triggered, if Kanye knows that he can be let people somebody get under his skin, like if Kanye knows he gets possessive and he's ego driven, then this is something he has to take in consideration because like right now, one of the things that he's going through is he's mad about Pete Davidson um, texting him and telling him that oh yeah, I'm in bed with your wife. Well, there's a difference between casual sex and future plans. At some point, we stop talking about protection, like have fun but protect yourself. Okay, right. But like there are dudes who will, just because she's fine, who will say, I don't need to wear, like she's fine, she looks clean, I don't think she has any diseases, I'm good. And they, because they're thinking about STDs. And so yeah, you think about that too, but it's more than just STDs. Because like even if you're smart enough where you and the chick like which isn't which doesn't sound like it's happening a lot, especially if it's casual sex, especially if it's just some chick like you just met. Maybe you went out a couple of times, maybe you just met that night. Like you aren't really exchanging uh, health STD screenings. You're not. And generally speaking, maybe you should be, but generally speaking, you're not exchanging STD screenings. And then you decide, okay, yeah, I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna smash, and then you're not wearing protection. Like that's as crazy as it is. A lot of dudes is doing that. A lot of dudes will just go, I'm gonna smash. I'm not wearing protection. I'm not worried about it. And so now, even if she's cool and she don't have any STDs, you're cool. You don't have any STDs. Pregnancies happen. Now, somebody that you know nothing about, is pregnant with your child. How's that going to go? You think that's going to work out for you? Like, never sleep with someone you aren't willing to marry. And as much as people will say, as much as guys want to resist that, look at the alternative. Look at the alternative. Facts. Yeah, look at the alternative of what happens if you say, you know what, I'm not worried about it, because that couple of hours that night could lead to a couple of decades that you're tied to this woman. A couple of hours of some good sex could lead to a couple of decades of stress, headaches, and all kinds of drama. All kinds of drama. Like it's seriously, you especially if guys are looking at the system and they're saying, "Listen, we know the system is going to favor the mother in this situation. If you know this, if you know this, whose fault is it? Like, why would I then go and just, like you said, play Russian roulette, play Russian roulette, and like just hey, and let's see what happens. Let's see how the next 20 years of my life are gonna go. Um, because I've just decided to just smash some random chick, and take no precautions whatsoever. And then, of course, and you've got it on both sides, but you'll have some people who will, like, okay, who will try to get pregnant. Like, especially if you have means. If you've got money, like you saw the story with Drake and the hot, like that's crazy. Now, as crazy as it is that Drake put hot sauce into the thing, into the condom. The crazy part is that number one, so it's three crazy parts. It's crazy enough that he put the hot sauce in the condom after he used it, right? The second crazy thing is that the woman actually went to look for the condom and then tried to put the condom in herself. That's the second crazy part. The third crazy part, and this is I think the biggest craziest part of that. The most crazy part of that is that that Drake knew. He knew this was the type of woman that would go into his garbage can and try to use his seed into her. He knew this, and he slept with her anyway. Think about that. He knew this woman was trifling. He knew she was absolutely trifling, and he had sex with her anyway. I mean, somebody please make it make sense. Like at some point, like at some point, the person making that decision knowingly, we got to look at them and their horrible decision making. She could be a horrible person, but you, knowing and believing her to be a horrible person, decided to smash anyway. Like that's think about the mindset of what that tells you about. Well, he knew and protect himself. Listen, Kenny, if he really wanted to protect himself, he wouldn't have had sex with her. Like really, how how like what is the how good did the box have to be for him to decide that he was gonna take that risk and still have sex with that woman? That that was like crazy. Like who? Like I don't understand the thought process that made him say, "I know she's absolutely trifling, but I'm a smash it." Like especially like it's not like he doesn't have options. He's Drake. He has lots of options. The fact that he still exercises options to have sex with that woman, he had 17 lines of defense. But Kanye is finding it out, and Kanye's still doing stuff. I look at some of the stuff Kanye's doing, and I'm like, in fact, if you just take a look at the stuff that's on Twitter, there is and the positions that people are taking, there's some really interesting points being made. Um, there's actually something I found out. Well, that's been alleged. I don't know how true it is, but they're for all of their talk about calling Kanye a bully, because they're calling Kanye a bully. They're saying he's cyberbullying Pete. Um, I saw this tweet. So I looked at this tweet, and they're talking about this is Pete Davidson sending Kanye a picture of him in Kim's bed, and then they said that he had allegedly they're alleging that he had done this before to Mac Miller when he was dating Ariana Grande. So if you Mac Miller is dead. Mac Miller ended himself. He had been dating Ariana Grande. They broke up. She got with Pete Davidson, and they're alleging that Pete Davidson, in fact, Kanye, I think, was one of the people that put out that information, that he was alleging that he sent pictures, intimate pictures, to Mac Miller, and Okay, so okay, oh that rumor. Yeah, I had never heard of that. I had never heard of that before. And Soul said that, yeah, that's why Grande left him too. Yeah, I never heard that. But if he did that, like if he did something like that, because like you know I'm talking about who's the good guy in this, like that's a scummy move. That's a really scummy move if he did that, and especially if it led to something more serious, like where what happened to Mac Miller. If it led to that, but yeah, like they said, after shortly after Mac Miller passed, that Grande and Davidson they split up. But if that's the like that would have been some really grimy stuff if he actually did that. Um, but it I the thing I'm noticing about him is that Pete Davidson. So he got in fact yeah. So him and Ariana Grande actually they had gotten engaged. Okay, so it's just everyone in Grande's camp said it wasn't true. Okay, I could care less though. Listen, here's my position. Besides who's good and bad, who's good and bad. My position is, um, hey, as a content creator, I'd like to thank both Kim and Kanye for being absolutely messy, for giving me something to talk about. Let's give them a round of applause. Let's give them a round. I got to give them a round of applause. As a content creator, I got to big them up. You know, the drama, the drama helps. But the funny thing is that, well, the interesting thing is they were together. Kind Pete and Ariana Grande were together for a month before they got engaged. A month. They were together for a month and they got engaged. Like now, I'm starting to see a clearer picture of who Pete Davidson may be. Like if this dude, like he's branding after a few months of being with Kim, he's branding his name on her name on himself, and he's tattooing, you know, on herself. Um, uh, yeah, I'm being messy. You're absolutely right, man. um, but he's tattooing his like her. He's several tattoos of Kim on him, and I'm like I said, I'm curious. Like this doesn't seem to be the most stable of behaviors, but the fact that Kim is enjoying it now, this is something that makes you start to look at her. Like what? Like is she choosing individuals who are who are more likely to be so I have no doubt in the like in the red pill space, I have no doubt that they'll look at her as in she loves simps. Um, okay, but you do raise an interesting point. So Pete's 28, she's 40. So yeah, 20 somethings people do something things on fly. Yeah, he's a lot younger than her. And so it could be immaturity. Um, but we do know he has mental health issues as well. So at this point, like I'm looking at it perspective because people just want to like okay they'll pick a team, and I'm not convinced that there's a good guy and a bad guy. I'm not convinced of that because there's behavior that I'm seeing from multiple parties that's like that's concerning, and so I take a look at Maj. Kim is my age, about to be 41, and maybe she gets some sort of thrill from having a younger guy pamper her, make her his center. Okay, so yeah, older woman, younger guy. That's definitely something that will feed her ego. That's definitely something. Yeah, yeah, I definitely know that. But now, so I liked Maj Toure. He gave his take. He talked about how Kanye West is right, and in terms of, because like one of the things that Kanye kept talking about was having North on TikTok and everything, and having like giving. And I talked about this in my video. Like the social media, like young kids on social media is a problem, and so and it's not a problem that I'm saying the government needs to be involved in. It's a problem that the parents need to be involved in. But that the problem is if you have parents that are divorced and they don't agree on that, which once again, this is the kind of things that if like you need to know where your baby, the mother of your children is, or the father of your children is, so that you're on the same page. Because if you've got one parent that wants to allow their kid to be on social media, and the other, this is going to be a definite area of button heads. Because a lot could be. I do. I found out some things about how like they have certain protections which they need to, because especially with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian's daughter being as famous as she is, that would definitely be a problem for having strangers having access, having direct the ability to directly access these children. But now that because she had went live, Northwest had went live on her own account at one point, and Kanye went off like as he should have, and so now she doesn't have sole access, and Kim has to provide her access to TikTok. But his point too, that even if Kanye West doesn't do anything to Pete Davidson, somebody else who's a fan of Kanye West may try to harm Pete Davidson. But there's a flip side, because Kanye isn't the only famous person in this situation. Kim's got fans. Pete Davidson's got fans. Like when you're with this level of messiness, could lead unstable people that have nothing to do with the situation saying, "Oh, I'm going to do something to defend this person that I'm a huge fan of." Like yeah, I think Kanye is a danger to Kim, so I'm gonna protect her. Like some nut job could do that. And so if this isn't real, like if this isn't real and they're just doing this for publicity to promote themselves and their brands, that's something they really should take into consideration, because there's a lot of crazy people out there. Um, and so like there's there's so many ways this could go wrong, but I'm like the harms or the potential harms that people are pointing out seem to be based on whom they're siding with. Um, so like this guy is like, he's like, I stopped being a fan of Kanye West way before his love of Trump. But this does suggest to me that this person would have been would have definitely stopped being a fan of his, also because of his love of Trump. Um, I'm seeing his narcissistic ego overriding his talent. Everyone is caught up in the celebrity drama instead of the real issue: his threatening, abusive, stalker behavior. But like I'm talking about, that behavior, if Kim Kardashian is on Ellen's show bragging, she's bragging about how her boyfriend of 4 months, like October, of a few months, has seared her name into his skin and has multiple other tattoos of her on his body. If she's bragging about this, does she consider this stalking behavior? Is she the one that's telling, like, is this considered flirting to her? Is this considered courting to her? Is this considered like acts of devotion to her that she likes and appreciates? That's the question, because there's behavior, like the behavior from this. Like there are people that look at Pete Davidson's behavior in terms of branding her name on him, and they're like, wow, that's not entirely normal. And so the question is Kanye doing what he's doing because he thinks that this is actually, whether rightly or not, whether based on actual things that he's seen from her, does he actually think that this is, hey, this is what she likes? And I'm thinking like there's no nuance being had in this conversation. That level of nuance is completely missing from this conversation. Um, so then there goes with the beef that he's having with, because Trevor Noah has come at him, DL Hughley has come at him, and so like this young lady talks about how y'all out here defending Kanye West for threatening another black man. This is the same man that continues to claim he want to uplift his people, same person who said slavery was a choice, same person threatening his wife. But like, you see that she starts listing a bunch of things that she doesn't like about Kanye anyway. So now there's so much of this is just based on people's preconceived opinions of the parties in this drama. So she already doesn't like him when he said slavery was a choice. That was some years ago. I did a video on that, and I criticized, like, there was a level of stupidity in that statement, but there was a kernel that like kind of made sense, but he was still wrong. There was a kernel that kind of made sense, but he was still wrong. And that's one of the things that shows how lacking in knowledge Kanye is on politics, history. But and I said I was going to get to this point, and this is a great time to get to it. Why does Kanye, even though he doesn't know anything about politics, doesn't know anything about history, clearly when he makes stupid statements like slavery is a choice, because guess what? There are plenty of black people that chose not to be in slavery and died because of it. But that seemed to be something that he was just like completely unaware of. But why does he have such confidence despite not not being aware of so much? And if you look at the things he went through just to get put on, where musically so many people didn't want to deal with him, so many people thought he was going to be nothing, he wasn't going to, never amount to nothing. And then now he's one of rap's billionaires. He's one of rap's billionaires, even though so many people doubted him. Imagine you've you're driving in a car, right? And everybody's in the car, and you're like, in fact, you're not driving, you're in the passenger seat. Person driving is going down the road. This is a place that you're trying to find this restaurant to go, and you say you're going the wrong way, and this person says, listen, I'm not going the wrong way. You said, no, listen, you're going the wrong way. You're gonna have to go like 5 blocks up and then over. Like, in fact, we're on the wrong side of town, and they're like, no. And everybody in the car says, what are you talking about? We're going the right way. The restaurant that we're trying to get to, it's over here. You keep driving. You're like, listen, I'm telling you. 20 minutes later, still looking for the place, and you're like, listen, we're on the wrong side of town. We were supposed to go back. Everybody tells you to shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Half an hour after that 20 minutes. So you're like, you've been doing this for an hour. You've been searching for this place for an hour. And then finally, somebody decides to look at a map. They look at a map and find out, oh, yeah, it is on the other side of town. You were right. We were supposed to go the other way. At this point, you've been vindicated. You've been proven right. Next time, you're driving. You're like, listen, next time from now on, I'm driving. From now on, from that point forward, when you're driving, you're not going to hear anything anybody has to say. And you may even be wrong because a month later, you're trying to get to someplace else and you're wrong this time. But everybody in the car, the same people that were in the car the last time and told you that you were wrong, even though you were right, now they're telling you you're wrong. This time you actually are wrong. But guess what? You've already proven that you were right and they were wrong. So you're not trying to hear it. You'll drive for an hour, 2 hours. Finally, look, we're telling you, you will be completely resistant to accepting them because they doubted you and you proved them wrong. That's where Kanye is. Kanye is in a place where people doubted him. They doubted that he would be that he could sell, that he could become a rapper, a good rapper, that he would be able to sell, and they damn sure doubted that he would be a billionaire. And that's where he's at. So with him being a billionaire, with him proving all of these people wrong, do you understand how hard it is to tell Kanye something? Do you understand how resistant Kanye is to outside advice? He proved everybody wrong. You can't tell me nothing. That's Kanye's mindset. You can't tell me nothing. So despite the fact that we're here, we're in a place where Kanye is doing stuff that even people that support him, there's people that support him, they're looking like he probably should be doing it a different way. They're not going to criticize him for it, but they're saying to themselves, this could end badly for him. But even telling him, you can't tell him nothing. Why would you? Because he's proven everybody wrong. All of these people that have doubted him, all of these people that said he wouldn't amount to nothing, he's proven them wrong. So why would he ever listen to anybody who says anything other than what he's doing? Because his way is the highway. I'm Kanye. I've proven that I know more than everybody else. You can't tell me nothing. Um, but there's more takes. Because you see, here's what happened. So if you look at Amisha, she's talking about how DL Hughley is right. Kanye West is being abusive. He's stalking, exhibiting behavior. So here's the thing. Oh wow, and she goes far with it. She goes that he's sending the red flags of domestic violence. Like imagine because now you're going to a bunch of lengths that are unproven, potentially fatal interaction. No one should be laughing or downplaying this. I think this take is crazy. I think this take is crazy because just to base this on the antics, and I think that a lot of people, like I said, that already dislike Kanye for other reasons that are completely unrelated to this situation, they're willing to just jump out there and just paint him in the worst light possible because they already don't like him. They already hate him. Like he's already pissed them off. He criticized the Democratic Party. Like there are people that feel that like his support of Trump has actually, hurt left wing courses. They'll say that. Even though Biden is president, there are people who on the left like, oh no, he hurt people by supporting Trump. But she went above and beyond of basically saying that he's going to kill somebody. Like I think that's ridiculous. Um, this other young lady though, she has an interesting take. She took because for all of the things that for all of the support Kim Kardashian had been gaining, last week, yeah, a few days ago, she does an interview and she has some advice for women out there. Her advice for women: get off your butt and work. This is what this rich woman, this billionaire, and self-made. Well, because if you look, she was already rich. Like she, and at no point in time was well the Kardashian, like they already had a bunch of money, a bunch of money. So the any notion that she came from nothing in order to become something, um, that's not happening. You know what I'm saying? Um, so, but it pissed people off because, as you can see, this woman talks about how it's interesting because people were coming at Kim after that, like a bunch of the same people that had been supporting Kim came at her after this, talking about how she's so out of touch, and quite frankly, yeah, it was an out of touch thing to do, an out of touch thing to say. But then it's like right up she puts her foot in her mouth. The text message is leaked. North is conveniently back on TikTok. Somebody is working hard behind the scenes. Like I said, Kim, we know that Kim Kardashian is great, great at controlling and using the media. Great at controlling the media. And so she doesn't, like, she's smart enough to not have to do things directly, to do things indirectly and come out smelling like a rose. But there are people who think that, um, people who are still claiming that this is going to end badly. And this person said, I always said Kim picked the wrong man to have kids with, and one day it's going to bite her in the butt and it will turn nasty. Well, here we are. But Kim's had a bunch of relationships that just ended. They end. Uh, I I look at Kanye and I do wonder Kanye is why isn't he? Because he could be handling this in a manner where he's focused just on the kids, but he's doing a lot of talking about Pete Davidson, a lot of talking about Kim, when he could be focused on the kids. And then some of his other antics are, I mean, because he'll come out and say that he needs support because, well, let's take a look at what are the things he says. So his this my dad won't even call Kim. I don't speak to most of my family because they've been allowing this kind of behavior. I am in no way trying to get this woman back. Okay, if that's where he's at, that's good. His behavior may suggest otherwise, but if that's where he's at, that's good. I'm in no way trying to get this woman back. I've moved on with my life. I just feel culturally there's a bunch of white privileged people forcing the upbringing of a bunch of black children. Okay. Before we finish this, Kanye, you're black, your ex wife is white. Those children are not black, they're mixed. Those are biracial children. But for you trying to claim that these are now black children, people are looking at you somewhat skeptically, rightfully so. There's a bunch of white privileged people forcing the upbringing of a bunch of black children. I've seen a bunch of celebrities speak up against me, but ain't no one other than Candace Owens that ever said that any of this bitter baby mama behavior is wrong. Yeah, and invoking Candace Owens isn't the greatest move, but you do you. So it's fun. The person who wrote the streets, like, black man Kanye West, who dates and marries only white women and has 4 kids with this so-called white woman, is all of a sudden claiming he is a victim of white privilege. You can't make this stuff up. Uh, And so it seems rather opportunistic if you keep putting yourself, you're dating white women, marrying white women, you've got biracial children, and now all of a sudden you're trying to invoke. Because remember, we talked about Byron Allen. It's like, wait a minute, are you now just trying to manipulate the black community by, like, yeah, we got to stick together? Like, whoa, 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 like you didn't you didn't stick with a black woman. You married a white woman. Like, don't complain now that that situation that has you in a situation where you already are a man dealing with a system that favors women. Then you add to the fact that that woman that you're dealing with, that you're at odds with, and that you're trying to hoping to get, I guess, more control over your kid's life. That woman that you're going up against is not only rich, she's not only famous, she's white, and you're not. Do you really think you stand a chance of winning, especially if you're engaged in all these antics? If you're engaging in all these antics, I think you, as a black man, can go up against this rich, famous white woman and succeed in this system as far as parental controls and custody is concerned? Like, for real? But then you're also coming and trying to like this person says, um, Kanye West is dog whistling a lot of you weaklings. He gets up here and says something pro-black, throws in a couple of prayers, and manipulates the mess out of your Play-Doh brain. It's crazy. He chose white privilege because he saw it as a convenience. Now he sees it as a problem. Like, yeah, like, this is the woman you chose to marry. This is the woman you chose to have 4 children with. Now talking about this, oh, this black, like, wait a minute, that's not, that doesn't seem to be in line with the way you've been living your life. And it's not just the choices that you made, because since you've broken up with this woman, it's been a string of white women, once again, that you're parading outside with, including your latest, that, yeah, I got to pull up the picture of his latest girlfriend. That This is the part that has people looking at you skeptically. Because when I saw this picture, I thought that was Kim. Like, I thought this was a picture of him and Kim from back in the day. No, no. This is his new this is his new girlfriend, Cheney Jones. So he's now chosen to start messing with a white woman who looks exactly like his ex-wife. But he's saying stuff like, I'm not trying to get back with her. You're making it kind of hard to tell. All the other stuff aside, like right now, just from an objective standpoint, now it starts to get a little bit harder to take what you're saying at face value, because there are people who are automatically going to choose teams based on political affiliations. But when you are stepping out with a woman who looks exactly like your ex-wife, like when people say you're still stuck on your ex-wife, I can see where they're coming from. Whoever liked his poopity doop scoopity is probably on his side now. What's funny about that is, if if that's the same song I think it is, he had this was around the same time as him, professing, like claiming Christian and everything. And it's funny that somebody like a Candace Owens, who criticizes Cardi B and says her music is, raunchy and disgusting, but because Kanye is bigging her up, because Kanye pays attention to her, she still loves Kanye. So it doesn't matter what kind of lyrics he has, what doesn't matter what kind of stuff is in his music. He could have, like, you're such a hoe, I love it. Like that was that song. I think that was the same song. Like, that's not a problem. Why? Because he's bigging her up. He's giving her attention. He's giving her validation and promotion. That's what Candace Owens loves. She loves the promotion. So the fact that it doesn't matter what he says, doesn't matter what he does, the fact that he's showing her support, she's not gonna have anything critical to say about the messages in his music. But like, okay, what just happened? Okay, um, and then there's the back and forth between him and DL Hughley, because DL Hughley and him have gotten, like, so they claimed that he was actually threatening DL Hughley. Once again, I think a lot of times they're taking some of the words and they're painting it in the worst possible light because they already don't like him. Yeah, they're clearly arguing, they're clearly beefing back and forth, but I don't know that he's necessarily threatening violence as much as they. But the fact that they keep going to that is something that should, even like the people on the left should be noticing that, like, wow, it's imagine, look at the ease in which they accuse Kanye West of being violent and dangerous. Because like we just saw the tweet of this woman claiming that he can, like, he's potentially going to kill someone. Like what? Like that's like, and I'm not doing this in terms of like Kanye saying this. I'm doing this in terms of um that that you're so quick to paint this violent label. Like this is concerning, just the quickness of how quickly that violent label is put on a black man. And I'm not like, okay, so what are your thoughts on how he came at Trevor Noah? So it's interesting that they're saying that what he called Trevor Noah was a racial slur, despite the fact that a bunch of people called him that because of his support of Trump. So here's the thing: there's some things that are racial slurs, and then there's insults that are, because like that word is based on not just you being black, but based on you doing certain things. So it seems less. It's not as connected to just like a blanket thing about race, whereas so, oh yeah, by the way, in the way he used it, because there is a way to use that word, and like I didn't even realize this till I went to the Midwest, and like that's a way that it can be used to blanketly against all black people. He's using it in the way of, okay, this dude is a sellout, and once again, him calling Kanye calling Trevor Noah a sellout because he's taking a certain position. It's like, Kanye, you're like, look at your life. Look at the way you've lived your life. People are calling you that um, because of your support for Trump. Even though I think politically, like I like the way Killer Mike said it. You've got free people arguing over who has the best master. That's ridiculous to me. But the fact that you're claiming, like you're acting like you're so pro black, and you're because and you're in this whole situation because of your white ex-wife. You and her have separated, and now you're complaining, and you're still marching out a steady stream of white women that you're. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Like you can't claim to be you can't act like you're Malcolm X when um you're living like Black Jack Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's you're it's disingenuous. It's very disingenuous for Kanye to be taking the positions is, like, in terms of acting like he's so, like, yeah, I'm so pro black. Like I said, I appreciate what he did in for Chicago. I appreciate the way he advocated, but like he has to put things in perspective. in terms of if you want to criticize Trevor Noah for being politically, because I think Trevor Noah's attacks are politically motivated. He's attacking and he's painting this picture of Kanye for the political purposes because of Kanye's political positions. But you can say that without trying to act like you're suddenly Umar Johnson. You're not. You're not Dr. Umar. Um, oh yeah, and then the people that are calling for Kanye to be put into a conservatorship. That's I really hate that because, but once again, this is why I have to look at several people in this situation having a well-known, a publicly known mental health diagnosis puts you in a position that where any little thing you can do can be like used against you to like just to strip you of your autonomy. And that's a dangerous precedent. Like that's a dangerous precedent. And so like it's crazy because we just had to go through all of this stuff where people like free Britney, and you realize that Britney was being abused by that label and by the what was done to strip her of her autonomy. And now they're calling once again they're calling for this to be done to Kanye. And this it I can see I can see the possibility that this movement gains steam, and if it does, that's going to be a very bad thing because I do not think that that is warranted, and it's just a really he needs to really be mindful of the position that he's putting himself in, because like yeah, it could go real bad for him, like in terms of if they now say, well, you can't even make decisions for yourself, like that would be like he definitely doesn't want that. Um, and so people will blame, like they're using this to blame anybody who supports. So the amount of men that think Kanye is fine is the reason why women's murder rates are so high. Um, yeah, like it's so easy for people to just take to go to the extreme of now saying that Kanye's this dumb stuff Kanye is doing is now makes him at risk for killing people. Thank you, thank you, thank you, anonymous. Because he's being loud, he's being boisterous, but this is drama. This is drama. At this point, it's not even a matter of well, interesting. Like there's one take of it. At this point, it's not even a matter of somebody being harmed. It's a matter of people just of grown people acting fairly childishly. There are so many messed up takes on the matter, but because everything is so public from both parties, it's like you're not in this particular camp, then you're this and that. Exactly. Exactly. Like if you're not on, if you don't agree with my position on this issue, you're a horrible person and you want women to die. Like that was the last thing. Like if you don't agree with my position on this matter, then you're a horrible person and you want women to die. And then there's some positions on the other side that if you're not supporting Kanye, then you hate black men and you're a white supremacist. Like there's there's some really ridiculous positions being taken, and I just realized that there's a lot of ridiculousness. There's enough ridiculousness from all of the parties involved, um, and and it's from various things that are being done, and some things that you can infer are being done. For instance, this person's position is interesting. Two men that suffer from bipolar depression. Although I think Kanye has bipolar, and I think Pete has like borderline personality disorder. Um, And you guys let Kim Kardashian play the victim when she's the real problem. Wake up. This girl doesn't love or care. It's about attention for her. Now, listen, remember what I said about her bragging to Ellen DeGeneres that this man, her new boyfriend, allegedly since October, allegedly her boyfriend since October, she's bragging about how he seared her name into his skin. And based on the fact that he has a mental health history, like that in itself, I think would be a cause for concern. So if somebody who has not just a mental health history, a mental health present, if somebody with a mental health present does something like start brands her name into his skin, um, tattoos, has multiple tattoos of her because he has more than one tattoo. He's got several tattoos of her, according to Kim, and a brand of her name on him. And she doesn't think that that's concerning. She doesn't think that that's concerning for a man who has a mental health diagnosis. She doesn't think that that's something for her to be worried about. She thinks that's something to brag about. Like that it's like I'm starting to I'm my opinion of her and how ego driven she may be is makes me wonder, like I said this a couple of times, how much Kanye's present behavior could be linked to what she responds to. So if something that seems like fairly extreme like that is something that she's like, oh, that's sweet. Like, could she also be the type of person that would think her ex-husband dating women that look just like her is sweet? Could she also be that type of person? Or does he have reason to believe that him dating women that look just like his ex-wife is something that could appeal to her ego? Like like these dudes, I'm like it's she may not be the best person for somebody, especially Pete Davidson, because like I look, like him getting engaged to Ariana Grande after a month, like there's some warning signs. So as much as people want to talk about the warning signs from Kanye, there's some warning signs from Pete, and I'm not necessarily saying that he could harm her necessarily. I'm saying there's warning signs for his own safety, that people that are evidencing themselves, that appear to be evidencing themselves. Um, yeah, I don't know or care about what's going on behind the scenes. Pete has okay, borderline personality disorder. Um, yeah, that throws some red flags for both of them. Yeah, yeah, definitely. With both bipolar, there are two forms. One is based more on the highs, and other systems is two is based on lows and other systems. Yeah, but manic, mania, and depressive, right? Yeah, yeah. Um, but ultimately, like people, they're proxies. Ultimately, these two dudes, in fact, everybody in this situation appears to be proxies for other people's agendas. So the people that that want to discredit Kanye because they don't want him to be taken seriously for his political positions, they're loving this because every stupid thing he does, they can prop it up there and okay, they can put it up there, put it on like this. They could paint him as a bully. Just a reminder that a bully on social media will meet their match eventually. And by the way, DL Hughley is going in. So they, like I said, from a content perspective, there's something here. Bunch of drama, bunch of stuff to cover, bunch of jokes, and some stuff is funny. Some of this isn't as funny, but um, hopefully, it doesn't manifest itself in too dangerous a way. But once again, these are grown folks who have to learn to deal with it. So even if it does go south badly, guess what? I mean, already just looking at the drama that's going on, there's lessons for everybody else if we're willing to pay attention to it. If we're willing to learn the lessons, there's stuff we could learn from this. Going into Hotep mode, the Kanye Kim beef is a distraction about what's going on in government. Definitely, I definitely know that there's so many distractions out here, and that the media will focus on stuff to distract us from stuff. My my take is, and the reason why, so like I will use stuff like this. I will look at a situation like this and see, okay, yeah, it's drama, it's messy, but are there gems in there? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's definitely a distraction because that's the way, like the way the media works today. They want us focused on everything but the stuff that matters. They want us distracted, like, and that's why we even have reality TV. That's why we have these celebrities in the position they are. That's why we have. Just take a look at how much entertainment there is in this country. Think about how big a business entertainment is in this country. Everything is centered about distracting us. In prisons, in prisons, here's let me something a lot of people don't realize about prison. In prisons, like in federal prison, they make sure that they have TVs, and most federal prisons will have cable access. And if a TV breaks in a federal prison, do you know how quickly they replace those TVs? Why? Because it's methods of control. It's methods of control. So a TV will break within 2 days. They'll have a new TV posted up, and boom, so that they can keep the inmates calm and distracted, and not focused, and not focused on the reality of their situations. Like, so, like, if you see that, like, that's a microcosm of how they keep the public distracted. Because out here we have TVs, we've got social media, we've got video games, we've got movies, we've got um, so many types of distractions. All of this stuff is to keep us distracted from a bunch of the stuff that's going on around the world. And unfortunately, sometimes we stay distracted until something's too late, and then we're like, wait, how'd this happen? You know? Um, so, as far as the jokes that DL Hughley's got, here's one of them. Ain't it weird that Kanye supposedly has all these goons who will kill for him, but not one of them will get his prescriptions filled? Here's a thought while you're on your way to kill me in Calabasas. How about somebody drop by CVS and pick up his Xanax? So I think to this he responded like, oh, he's making fun of my mental illness. But hey, listen, if you want to get into it back and forth, because they're going back and forth with the jokes, and hey, DL, I haven't seen a lot of stuff I've seen from DL lately has just been on some moralizing, um, basically, and not just for the Kanye situation, just from DL Hughley. Period. He's just like really been towing the party line. So it's actually refreshing to see DL actually, engaging in some comedy. Uh, he should do that some more. That would be nice. Well, you're not going to give Xanax to Kanye. Because yeah, Xanax is what, for what, like depression or something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure, but because Xanax is Xanax, no, no, but he would definitely need some. If I remember correctly, for BBD, bipolar disorder, isn't that lithium? I think lithium is one of the things. So it would probably be, and this is, make sure this is not medical advice. This is not medical advice. This is not. I'm um, just speaking uh, as a layperson. But yeah, yeah, it will be some stronger medication that he would need to take for that. Um, but yeah, like with beyond all this drama. Oh yeah, and even uh, Steve Harvey got involved and told Kanye that you don't want no beef with you don't want no beef with DL. You get your butt whooped. Hey, I don't know what would happen. I don't know what happened if they would just step in the ring. If they, who would come out on top? If, I I believe. Okay, okay, Kenny. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, right. Thank you, Kenny, for sharing that. Yeah, it's there's there's a lot of this would so like with Kanye believing because Kanye may be ready for a fight. Kanye may think he's ready for a fight, and he may not actually be ready for a fight because, like we talk about, Kanye's abilities in one area lead Kanye to um, not not accept his limitations in other areas. Um, definitely. Um, but if so, now I'm just like I'm at the point where I want to see what hap- I want to see what happens next in terms of does like at some point does Kanye realize that he's not helping the situation? The side effects of a lot of these medications are really bad. And there's been and I think that a lot there's the pharmaceutical companies and the pharmaceutical industry pushes too much the medication and doesn't actually push alternatives to the medication. Like there's not a lot of focus on there's not a lot of focus on like talk therapy, be it something like what do you call it? Dialectical behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, and I know certain illnesses may not be as responsive to talk therapy, but I think even when there are certain illnesses, certain mental illnesses that are responsive and are treatable by non pharmacological solutions, they're not being advocated for, and it's because like I think these there's a lot of people take a look at the science and then don't realize where the science ends and the marketing begins. Steve Harvey and DL are shills. Listen, I definitely see a lot of the attacks on Kanye as being politically motivated because people already don't like him. But in fact, somebody else agrees significantly with what you're saying. And in fact, it's this cat that's running for office. I forget what office he's running for, but he's been making his rounds lately, and so you'll probably see him popping up more frequently as he gets closer to election. But this cat, Royce White, he says, "Let me help you weirdos out. Black bourgeoisie sellouts, all of you shilling for Kim K as fleeing an abusive Kanye West are Hollywood mainstream neoliberal whores. Kim K uses black men like designer purses, and now she's using those black children the same way. Godspeed." Yeah, I'm not sure where he fits. I'm not sure whether he supports Kim or Kanye. Um, that was me trying to tell the joke. um, you're correct. Before I had an appointment to see a therapist, I had like 3 different meds and was told I had to take. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Wow, 9 different. Wow, wow, yeah. Because now when you with those medications, um, I know in some cases there's side effects for medications, and then you need to take the doctors will prescribe a medication to deal with the side effects to the medication, and you could wind up taking a whole bunch of pills before and it's all to treat primarily this one illness, but like there's a whole bunch of different like it's a domino effect. Yeah, and so like it's interesting because yeah, even that joke that that Pete Davidson made about Kanye was was like, oh, Kanye says, yeah, this is the real me, and he was like, yeah, well, take the meds, because like he said, you'll like him, and so apparently he's on some medications as well. Apparently, it sounds like it because he says, yeah, I'm taking my meds and I feel good. But like the question is, take a look at it, because and as I'm doing this content creation and YouTube, the the creative aspects of this are crucial to being able to make good content. So as Kanye is being as he's an artist, and that's his primary method of getting, um of generating, music and everything, that he could actually be genuinely concerned that the medications are interfering with his ability to create content. So let's say he really is having issues. It's not as simple as, oh, just take your medication. Because if he's concerned, and there may be a legitimate concern, depending on how the medications affect him, that medication could affect his creative abilities. So if he's worried about, okay, if I take the medications, or when he's taking the medications, if he's been in a place where he's like, I've taken the medication, and now I just like I'm not being as, I don't feel as creative. I'm not being able to write. I'm not being able to produce as much. I don't know that I'm curious, and I think that's something that I haven't seen anybody take into consideration, but I think that would be a really good question to ask. I think that would be and if anybody was to interview him, I think that would be a great question to ask. If 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 he's taken the medication, if he likes the medications that he takes, and does he feel at all inhibited by medications? Because that's a legitimate concern for somebody who is a musician, who's an artist by trade. He needs Donda. Yeah, he should have stuck with Alexis Pfeiffer. It's. Oh yeah. By the way, type in the chats. If any of you are, what's your favorite Kanye West songs? What's your favorite one? Like, pick one Kanye West song that you his favorite. And I'm reminded, because when you talk about Donda, my favorite Kanye West song is "Hey Mama," hands down. And I remember seeing him perform that song after she passed, and it's just like that's. I really think that he really needed her. I wonder where Kanye would be, and what kind of state he would be in right now if his mother was still alive. Because yeah, I think yeah, I think that would have definitely a different impact on his life. Don't get me wrong, some meds work, but just not. It's not a one size fits all. Absolutely, absolutely. But I think that his mania is what's fueling his talent. Yeah, like that's the crazy thing, because there's been figures in history that, like they say, that there's a thin line between genius and psychosis or mania, and so, like, if what makes him creative, what makes him such a talent, is the same thing that could is potentially causing problems in other areas of his life, it's such a tough position to be in. Like, really. I agree with you. A psychotherapeutic approach would be better for Kanye. Drugs may compromise his genius. Yeah, all of the lights. All of the lights is a good one. All of the lights is a real good one. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, he's so all falls down. Yeah, I remember when that first came out. Stacey Dash in the video, Lauren Hill on the hook. That is a Yeah, that was a really definitely one of his early songs that I liked. But once Hey Mama came out, that was like, there was never another song that I've liked as much from him, as that one. flashing lights. My person. Okay, awesome, awesome. Uh, now as a result of his where he's at. There's a petition to remove him from Coachella. So yeah, there's Kanye West Heartless. Okay, and like I said, so he's got to realize that his what he's doing may not actually be working, and it seems like this could go real bad for him. Like if Kim wanted to just go to court and say, "Oh yeah, we want to do this," I think that could actually be accomplished. But I'm glad she hasn't done that. But I think he needs to, like I said, it's hard to know how to even get how to reach him because of the things that have happened. Because he's in a position where he trusts himself more than anybody else. So if you're not power, yeah. So if you're not telling him like what he wants to hear, if you're telling him, listen, the way you're doing things could backfire, he's not trying to hear it. It's like they said, like he says, you can't tell me nothing. Um, but it is interesting that one of his exes came out and said, "Hey, he's harmless. He's harmless. Um, he's not a threat to Pete Davidson or Kim Kardashian. That's just his creative expression." And so yeah, like the way they tried to use that music video. It's a music video. Stop it. Stop it. It's a music video, and like if you're going down that route, but it's amazing that they will they have no problem going down that route when you're dealing with rap music, but it's wrong. And so like I even like that there's in a different sphere you've got them people trying to get legislation passed that okay, no, these courts, these prosecutors cannot use rappers music and lyrics against them, um, to try to say, oh yeah, you're dangerous. Yeah, it was Julia Fox. Yeah, Julia Fox was the one that they were together, and then they're not. And she made some statements that makes Kanye look like a clown. But this statement was in his favor. But when she made a statement that she came up, she's like, yeah, I came up. It's like, wow, Kanye. So it's like if she's publicly like sounds like she's saying, yeah, I just used him to raise my profile. It's like Kanye, can you're making yourself look. There's some of the stuff you're doing that's making yourself look like a clown, and so um, like start making some would be really be great if you made some better decisions. Um, oh yeah, so this is the tweet about um, Kim praising and bragging about what Pete Davidson has done to brand her name onto him. Like, that's like at this point, if you realize that basically a lot of these, a lot of several parties, all of the parties in this thing have some problems. All of the parties in this issue have problems. So I'm not really like when I see people just taking one side. Oh, this person is right. They're crazy. This person is right. Or these people are right. He's crazy. It's like okay, yeah. Um, Lions Roar says, uh, "Pizza sent, bro." Well, listen, that's what I'm saying. I know the red pill position on this is like you brand like this is your girlfriend. This isn't even your wife, and you branded her name on your skin. Like that's some really ridiculous stuff. It's just Kenny. If you put your crimes in a song and then the DA sees it and starts investigating, then don't be surprised when charges are brought up. Um, I think it's Crank Lucas. Craig Lucas did a a skit where I think it was him, where he's like the dude is rapping and he's like telling all of these crimes, and people are getting like locked up as he's rapping because he's telling all of these crimes that were committed as as the song is going on. It was a really, I'm not sure if it was Crank Lucas. I'm not sure. It might have been somebody else, but I think Crank Lucas has a similar skit. But there was definitely one skit where the dude is rapping, and as he's rapping, uh, the cops come arrest each person, and it's like, oh, I don't know how they do this. Like there must be a snitch. There must be a snitch here, and he keeps rapping and telling all these scribes. But uh, yeah, I look at the situation and I'm like, all of these people need help. Oh, so I'm not saying Kim is not the good guy and Kanye's the bad guy. Kanye's not the good guy and Kim is the bad guy. I'm like, all y'all need some help. And hey, y'all have been wildly successful in the areas of business, entrepreneurship, moguldom, TV, entertainment. Y'all have been great. I applaud y'all. I give them all the credit in the world. In your personal, your interpersonal relationships, y'all need to work on that. Y'all need some serious work on that. And and hey, it's if you're gonna, in terms of regular people, like this is like number one, don't put these people on pedestals. They're, yeah, human beings. Number two, take a look at if these people at the level of success they've reached are having so much drama. The poor decisions in our interpersonal relationships can hurt us so much more. So Kanye and Kim are good because in terms of they have their billions and they signed the prenups. So they said, okay, once we separate, we're good. We don't have to. We're not going to fight over money. Like, how many of us are getting married and having prenups? So once that happens, if our relationships go south, like money's going to be an issue. The money's going to be something that it winds up being argued over. Custody of the children, how the children are raised. So regardless of who has custody, like the decisions that have to be made in raising the children are going to be a factor. Um, I don't disagree with voice though, because the Kardashians have a history of using up black men and spitting them out. However, they know what they exactly. Listen, um, because a lot of people, and I've seen people mention this isn't Kim's first failed marriage. Like there are people who are so quick to point the finger at Kanye, but they forget that Kim has multiple failed marriages, and then they'll bring up other stuff from her past. Like in fact, I found this out today about the Ray J and how Ray J and Brandy's mom, had to sue the Kardashians because they allegedly had used basically like credit card fraud, and I think it was Ray J that begged his mother not to press criminal charges against her because she was, I think Kim was Brandy's stylist or stylist or personal assistant, and Chloe was like they were working for Ray J and Brandy, and they had the card that they were supposed to just use for one purchase and wound up allegedly using it to buy $120,000, I think, of worth of merchandise for their store. It's like, what? Like I said, so it's like yeah, there's plenty of problems to go around here. Um, Plenty of blame. It's not even about blame, but it's just plenty of just function. And so, like, hopefully at least the rest of us can get some laughs out of this and get some lessons out of this, some laughs and lessons out of this. Laugh about the stupidity that's going on. And yeah, I just found that out today. I just found that out today. just today. I was like, what the like, and I was like, I hadn't heard about this at all before. So they went to they Brandy's mother actually sued them, and I think they settled out of court. Yeah, so she specifically, I think it was Ray J. They from what I read, that begged his mother not to file criminal charges, not to file a criminal complaint against Kim and them. But I'd like to. By the way, of course, for anybody who didn't see, this is you can fight City Hall. So this is the message. I've got the mug over there because, as some of you may know, I am fighting City Hall. I am going to beat City Hall, and you can too. But thank you, everyone, for coming on to the joining the stream, watching the stream. T- let's just killing a couple hours and talking about some stuff. Hopefully, we can learn some lessons and hopefully not just like hopefully people are looking at this and like, hey, you know what? A simple decision in choosing who I lay up with could have some very long lasting ramifications and implications for my life going forward. Thanks everyone for checking out the stream. I'll see you later. Have a good night, everyone.